And we're back. So when you analyze running records, then you're doing the most important thing. Sure, you have to take a running record before you can analyze it, but without the analysis, a running record really does you no good. So I want you to think about these three areas, and this work comes from the work of Maury Clay, who was the founder and creator of Reading Recovery. She was from New Zealand, and she has since passed, but will long be remembered as one of the great researchers of our time. So meaning is the main reason we read. We want to get meaning from our text. Then the next way we'll analyze what a child has read is through something that I'm going to reference as structure. Okay, sometimes people call it something else, but for my purposes, to make it easy for us, we'll call it structure. And I want you to think about the English language when I say structure. For an example might be, I might say, do we say things like that in our language, in English? Do we talk like that? For example, if a child said me instead of I, and they said me go to the store, I would not give credit for the child using structure. Meaning-wise, it might go with the story, but structurally we don't talk like that in the English language, unless we're a baby, right? Okay, so the V stands for the visual, and when I say visual, I'm talking about the print, the letters, the sounds the letters make. So if a child made the word, if the word was dad, and let's see, the child said dad, the word was actually father, then the child would not have used visual probably because the first letter is an F, and the child said a word that started with a D. Does that make sense? So visually, D doesn't look like an F, okay? Now, let's go back to meaning because I don't think I talked about that quite enough. So the meaning is, what is the book about? What is the book mainly about? What is the book mainly about? Okay, and so when we ask ourselves, did the error make sense based on meaning, we'll be talking about what the book is mainly about, okay? So let's check out some of these errors. If a child said, a dog have whiskers, would we say that the child was using meaning? A dog have? Possibly. I'm sure you're thinking, but structurally, we don't say it like that. So I'm not going to give credit for the structure. And visually, my goodness, yes, we can give credit for the visual because have begins with an H and an A, just like has. Okay, so I would code this for meaning and visual. All right, let's look at this next line. So the child said, a money has whiskers. All right, so let's think about this. I know you don't have the luxury of having the book in your hands, but I want you to glance down really quick and you'll see that this whole text is about animals and whiskers, okay, except for the last page, and it's about dad having whiskers. So knowing that, would it make sense meaning-wise for the child to say a money? And so I would not give credit for meaning on that one. A money, possibly you could say a money. Don't know if you really would. Primarily, it's the visual. I usually try to err on the side of the child, and if I can think of any way a child would have said a money, I would give structural credit. But if you are saying, oh no, I would never give credit for that, that's fine, as long as you can justify your answer. All right, let's look at the next row. A mice has whiskers. A mice. Well, we've already said this is about animals, so yes, I would give credit for mice. Structurally, do you say a mice? Do we say a mice? Not in the English language, we don't, so I'm not going to give credit for that. But what about visually? Yes, I could give credit for that visually. All right, what about a lion? A lion, and I didn't say this earlier because this is the first chance. We've had 2 errors. You always stop when you're analyzing, and you stop on the first error and you analyze it. You don't go all the way through to the end of the sentence. You stop at the first error. So you say a lion, okay? Meaning-wise, you could say lion. Structure-wise, you could say a lion. Visually, no, the child did not use the visual. All right. Okay, so what about this next error? I'm going to put this right here. And I was calling that an error, and now that I look again, there is a check mark, so the child did get it correctly, and I would have coded that as a self-correct because it's will, but in this example, we'll go ahead and let it fly like this. Okay, so I'm not going to need to code that. We'll pause the video. Sorry.